Just a small disclaimer, you don't have to use what I use in this video. You don't have to do what I do in this video. These sailfin dragons are very under-researched. There's barely any research online. Most of them are very old, so most of us that keep sailfin dragons, we do so by either asking folks that have been keeping their sailfin dragons for longer periods than us, actually had successful breeding them, and keeping them for long term in captivity. These dragons don't have much information about them. Most of us are doing what we think it's right, and this is what I think is right for my dragon. Let's get on to the video. So this is how I keep my sailfin dragon. In the wild, they have rivers and a lot of trees to climb. They feel safer when in somewhere tall. So I gave him plenty of climbing opportunities. So I do want to give him more than this at some point. I feel like he would benefit a lot from that. He has a lot of plants in his enclosure, as it's a vivarium, a bioactive terrarium. This is a 2 meter by 1 by 2 enclosure. I use tents for water dragons only, as they don't really see glass. As you can see, it's a fully bioactive terrarium. I got these isopods from the Malmö Expo. It also has springtails inside. The lamps I use is a 14% Arcadia Smart Light and two 100 watts each lamps from Reptile Nova. His humidity always stays in between 60 and 90%. The ideal heat I use is around 30 Celsius for this species, Hydrosaurus Weberi. Now we can talk about why the usage of a tent for a lizard. Simple and easy answer, too much risk. Here's an example of a healthy sailfin dragon. Now here's an example of a sailfin dragon that bashed his face onto the glass. It's the same sailfin dragon. He lived happily in his enclosure for a year or so, but one day he freaked out and bam! No more healthy maw. This happens in glass and even wood. I had Hydrosaurus amboinensis that was a baby who I bought when he was very young. He was healthy before he came to the cellar, but after being kept in glass, his face was too broken. He wasn't able to eat, and there was nothing I could do. So keeping water dragons in glass or wood is a big risk I'm not willing to commit. All these questions here have been asked by the Swedish people, or concerns, and I would like to keep that clear. That's why I'm making this video. Now, how are they as pets? They all have very different personalities, so today we will talk about my personal experiences with the Weberi. As pets, the Weberi is very sus. He will side-eye you, he might never trust you, but he is so funny and so fun to keep. This species always makes me so happy. I can pet mine even though he doesn't like it much, and I can hold him too if I really want to, though I do my best not to hold him without him wanting to. He eats about anything you throw at him, but I like to make sure to ask other keepers if it's safe to feed or not, just to be sure. They mostly poop in the water. Sometimes their aim ain't the best though. They have never tried to whip me with their tail. They mainly bite when upset or stressed. When talking about how big they grow, honestly there isn't much info on that. Some say 1 meter, others say 1.20 meters. Overall though, they grow big, and that's what you need to know. I bought Goji in September 27th of 2023 in the Stockholm Expo. He is about 1.5 years old. I don't really know his actual age. He was about 2,700 kronor, which is about 250 euro or so, /dollars. One of the shocking factors the Swedes tend to have with me is, why do you bring him outside? I would like to add that the harness is just for safety. It is mainly not needed, because I want him to have natural light every now and then. We as humans can't really fabricate the sun in one lamp. Even if we wish we could, we can't. I go about 1 to 2 times a year with him outside, the hottest day of the summer in Sweden. He is a very calm lizard and very curious, so there is no harm in bringing him for about 10 minutes or so a day outside. Another thing you must know about me is that I used to have a sailfin of the same species as Goji, Hydrosaurus Weberi, in my home country, Portugal. In the background you will see pictures and videos I took of her. I used to go out with her every day. When she came to me, she was skinny and very mistreated. She had stuck shed everywhere and her fin was damaged. Her name was Smoothie, and she would run to the window every morning in a way asking to go out. Sometimes I would just go afternoons, other times I would just go mornings, but I was always home in time for her bedtime, and she was a very happy, healthy lizard. I sadly don't have her anymore. I ended up giving her to a not so good home. The new owner kept her in a 1 meter long enclosure by 50 tall. Smoothie was 55 centimeters long arboreal lizard. I am sure she isn't alive today, sadly. This lady lied to me. I gave her Smoothie's old enclosure and she didn't use it. She had said she would give her good lamps. I had to move to Sweden way too fast for me to be able to fact check, sadly. So now, Strawberry, my brand new tiny baby lizard I recently got. I am pretty positive that Strawberry is a female, but if she isn't, then I will be rehoming her to one of you, and I'll call her Eggplant. She's about 7 months, almost 8 months if I am to believe in the seller. I bought her on December 26th of 2024, and she was 195 euro, about 2,236 grams. Though I did got her in discount because of the one ambunesis that came injured. She's a very active, curious sailfin, and honestly I wish I could keep her even if she will be a male, but sadly right now I only have the space for a male and a female. I also keep her in a tent. It's a 160 long by 80 centimeter tall. I prefer not to give too tall of enclosures to babies due to them still figuring out how to jump and climb. I've heard stories of how they can injure themselves really easy as babies, and I don't want to risk that. Once she gets bigger, I will be putting her in the same enclosure as Goji for mating. I am thinking about giving her a separated enclosure, though with this species I've seen a lot of people keeping them together with no issues at all, so I am still thinking on what I will do. I would also like to add that in no way, shape or form I am an expert. I've kept sailfins for 3 years now, but I will never claim to be an expert because I believe to be one you must at least go to their habitats and check everything including their behavior. In terms of diet, no one really knows much about what they eat and can't eat. I usually ask other keepers what they have been feeding their sailfin and add whatever it is to the mix. In the background, you'll be able to see me preparing some food for Goji and Strawberry. Greens, I give about anything. Any mix that I find at the shop usually. Their overall diet varies from babies to adults. When babies, their diet is mainly insects, crickets, superworms, but I would never give mealworms since I did have a bad experience with it.
Goodness. You good? You good, little buddy? What was that? I didn't know you could make noises. You good? You good? Gucci?
You can also give them greens, but I recommend in small pieces. For subadults, you want to give a bit more greens, so 50-50 I would say. And for adults, I can't recommend anything since I don't really have an adult sailfin. They do also eat fruit, most fruit at least. Their favorite seems to be apples. From young till adult, you can feed them fruit. If you're in Sweden and plan on keeping one of these, I recommend you starting your own bug farm before keeping one of these, since Sweden at this day has a massive bug shortage. I breed my own bugs due to that exact issue. And if I am to breed these and sell their babies, I will make sure that you who are interested have the means to take care of these animals, and that includes their food as well. I have dubia colonies that I get enough babies to feed all of my 5 reptiles. I mainly breed dubias and superworms. All water dragons do. Sailfins are no different. They need their water place. Now, there are some who give just enough and some who give a lot of space for them to bathe. Water changes are something that requires time that not everyone has at hand. Some do their water place bioactive, some do it simple and plain. I do it simple and plain because I am yet to find out how to bioactive his water place. I got a giant place for Gochi to bathe and a tiny place for Strawberry due to me having to do water changes on her every single day. Sailfins overall love water. I believe that is all for today. I hope I was able to answer all of y'all's questions. If y'all got any other question, please comment below.